You guys, it's January 1st, 2024, so happy new year. I hope you all enjoyed your holiday season. You'll have to forgive my voice. I'm sure you can hear it's a little raspy. I'm a little bit congested still. I'm on the tail end of what I think is an upper respiratory infection. Unfortunately, my whole family and even extended family, we've been seeming to pass around whatever this is. I know a lot of people are sick right now, lots of stuff going around. But my kiddos got it first, and then my husband got it just a little bit, and then I was hopeful I had escaped, but I did not. A few days ago I woke up and I had zero voice. It settled in my chest and then went to my head, lots of sinus pressure, but finally getting a little bit of my voice back, so hopefully as this video goes on you'll hear some improvement. So I apologize for this raspy voice. So today's the first day of the Pantry challenge. So if you are new here watching for the first time, what challenge am I talking about? This is the Three Rivers Pantry challenge, where you utilize what you have stored in your home before going to the grocery store. The goal is to not go to the grocery store at all for the months of January and February. For the most part, I'm adhering to that, but I am allowing myself a small budget each week. I have two small kiddos here, and I don't want them to go without things like fresh dairy. We have raw milk here in PA, that's what we use. Raw cheeses, and then like some fresh fruits. So $25 a week for those items. Other than that, everything I'm gonna be using for all of our meals and snacks is gonna be what I have stored in my pantry, and in like my fridge and freezers. So that's what we're doing. Today is day one. I don't know what I just said. And as you saw yesterday, it was Sunday. Sundays, usually I take whatever free time I have. Sundays are usually my like pretty laid back, easy days. So after we get back from church, if I have some time, I'll prep some things for the week, get some bread items together. I didn't have a whole lot of time yesterday, but you saw I got the English muffins made for breakfast this morning. I got the beans soaking for the soup we're gonna be making right now, which is gonna be for our lunch today. I'm gonna make some ham and bean soup. My mom gave me the ham hock from Christmas. I had it sitting in the freezer, so we're gonna make some broth. We're gonna add a few more things to it. It's a really simple soup, but it is super good. Lots of good flavor in here. So we're gonna make that today. And today I'm still gonna take it pretty easy. I don't wanna push myself too hard, but I do want to make, obviously we're gonna make dinner later. I'm gonna ask my hubby. I have a few things written down. We'll see what he chooses. We're gonna make some fruit leather strips today. That's one thing I would purchase from the grocery store on occasion just for convenience. I don't wanna be like, I'm like an 80-20, honestly. Like, we eat pretty well, but I'm all about convenience here and there just for like sanity's sake. So every once in a while I'll buy some fruit strips. My kids have been asking for them. I'm not purchasing them at the grocery store for the next 2 months. So we're gonna make some fruit leather strips today. And then I think we're also gonna make a muffin. I had said to you guys in the last video, I have a whole bunch of whole wheat flour downstairs we don't love. So I'm gonna start mixing that with some all-purpose, just white flour. And we're gonna make some muffins today, and maybe we'll do some other things, but I got some other stuff I want to get to today, so I'm just gonna kind of work throughout the day. First thing we got to do is get this ham hock on. I'm gonna cover it with some water here in my Dutch oven, and we're gonna get this simmering probably for the next 2 hours. It's already cooked. I just want to extract the flavor and make some good broth. So this guy is gonna get put in the Dutch oven. I'm gonna cover it with some water, and we're gonna get it simmering. Okay, so full disclosure, you guys, I don't know if it's focusing on my face. I have said this before, I don't cook every day of the week. Usually I'll cook Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll do some baking on Sunday or Monday to have some things for the week. We do a lot of leftovers here, or else I'll take leftovers and I will revamp them and serve them in a different way for the remainder of the week. We're not afraid of leftovers. That works really well for me because I don't want to be in the kitchen every day. I love cooking, I love making good food for my family, but I've got other stuff I want to get done, lots of projects going on. So you're not gonna see me in the kitchen every day this week, and that kind of works with my uploading schedule anyways. I upload videos on Friday, so you're gonna see mainly what I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's just how this challenge is gonna work for me. Also, it's gonna be real life. I've got a messy kitchen right now. My house is kind of a disaster. It's, like I said, we were sick, and you know, we live in this home. So I am not going to be tidying it up and having it perfect for every time I'm turning the camera on. So I know you guys don't care, but I'm just putting it out there because I know someone will be like, man, your house is a mess. But real life, you're gonna hear my kiddos. Grant's here now, Eleanor's with Matt, but you know, I always try to be real with you guys and to share real life because that's just how this works. So I've got my ham hock in here, like I said. Now, we're not people that eat a whole lot of garlic and onions, and I know some people are gonna be like, oh, you don't eat garlic and onions. So I never tolerated them really well. My husband isn't like a huge fan. He likes garlic, but he doesn't love onions. And I didn't grow a ton of them, so I don't have many to use, and we're not going to the grocery store. So we do like, you know, some onion powder, garlic powder, so that's what I'm gonna be using in most all of my recipes, is just onion and garlic powder. But if you wanna make these for yourself, just know, you know, alter them to how you eat them. If you are interested in making some ham and bean soup, I would probably, you know, saute the onions and the garlic in some olive oil first before putting the ham hock in, and then, you know, stewing it all together and making that broth. But I am just doing my ham hock and some water right now. Okay, next up, we're trying something new. One of you sweet viewers said in the last video, and I'm sorry I can't keep you all straight, and sometimes it doesn't share your name, it just shares like a user number, depending on how I'm looking at it and what app. But one of you shared about using my canned carrots, which we don't really love, in a fruit leather. So I don't have like measurements to go by, so I'm gonna wing it. A lot of you asked, okay, why don't we like the canned carrots? I have been canning now, this will be my 7th year, pressure canning and water bath canning. Pressure canning really just changes the profile, the flavor profile of some things. We don't add anything to these when they're pressure canned, it's just water and carrots. But to me, they don't taste like carrots. They take on, I don't know, it's just a funky flavor. They're not terrible, but if we're gonna eat carrots, I want them to taste like carrots, and we just don't enjoy these. So I am trying to find ways to mask the flavor. They're okay in things like soups and stews, but they still don't taste like themselves. I really don't like them on their own, so I'm preferring to like bake with them. I have made some baked goods with these like in place of pumpkin or zucchini. It's a great way to add moisture to a recipe. But I'm gonna try it in this fruit leather and see how it goes over. From now on, I plan on preserving my carrots. We're gonna try and figure out cold storage for them this coming season. We love fresh carrots. So I do have a fridge also out in our garage that I can utilize, but I don't always love relying on something that requires power to store all of that thing. So I want multiple ways for preservation. We don't mind them if they are freeze dried, but we do like a fresh carrot every now and then, so I'd love to find a way to store them that way. I know you can keep them in the ground, so I may try that as well. So we're gonna wing this. I've got 2 jars of 2-year-old applesauce here. This is from 2022 that needs to get used up. So we're gonna use a quart of applesauce. I think I'm gonna start with half of this quart of carrots, and I'm gonna do a banana, and we're gonna taste that and see how it is. I might add some honey to it if I think it needs it. And then we're gonna dehydrate it and see how it works. So we're gonna get all this into a blender. Okay, so this honestly tastes pretty good. All I can detect is the applesauce and the banana. And I ended up putting that whole quart of canned carrots, and I don't taste them at all, which is wonderful. That's exactly what I want. I don't want to be able to taste them. So I don't have any of like those silicone liners for my dehydrator or for like baking. So I'm just using parchment. I'm a use what you have type of girl. So parchment on a cookie sheet works just fine. And I'm gonna do this in my oven. I have it at the lowest temp, which is about 180. And we're just gonna let this go for a few hours. I'll check on it each hour and see how it's doing, but you want it to not be sticky anymore. So I'm just gonna spread this out evenly and pop it in the oven. And we're gonna see how it turns out. And this is about, I'm gonna say like a 1/4 inch thick, which is right about where we want it. You could do it thinner than this, but I wouldn't do it any thicker than a 1/4 inch. I'm not totally sure how long this is gonna take, so I'll keep track of it, but I'm gonna just check on it every hour or so. It's been about an hour since we put the ham with the water on the stove. Instead of letting that go by itself now for a little while, I want to just throw in the rest of my ingredients. So I've got some freeze-dried celery I'm gonna put in here. This is probably gonna absorb some of the water, so I'll probably have to add some extra. 1/2 cup of that is gonna go in. I'm going hard with the carrots today, you guys, so go me. This is gonna be the second quart I've used today. I'm just gonna throw all these in here. And then I need to rinse the beans that were soaking from last night. Come on, go in here. Besides the beans, I do have some freeze-dried celery leaves here. These add so much flavor and nutrition. So they're gonna go in here. I wanna make sure I don't drop that in. Probably like a 1/4 cup. It's gonna go in there. Drained and rinsed beans are gonna go in. This was about 1 pound's worth. And I used navy and some pinto beans just because I had a little left in a bag that was opened. So this is all just gonna mingle together for about the next hour to hour and a half. The carrots might mush up a little bit. That's fine. I like when the soup kind of gets thicker. I usually end up mashing some of the beans as well. So totally fine. This is all just gonna simmer together now for the next hour to hour and a half, and then we'll add some seasoning after that. I'll pull out the ham bone and pull off whatever ham I can. I also have some extra ham in the fridge left over from Christmas. I had thrown that right into the freezer, so I pulled that out last night. It's been thawing in there. So that's good to go now for a while. We're gonna make some cornbread to go with this. Let me get started on that. So to go with our soup today, I'm gonna make some cornbread. Now usually I would make my own cornbread mix, but when I was going through my pantry, I noticed I have some of these boxes of Jiffy mix. I don't love to use this because they have some extra ingredients in there, but it's okay. These have been in there for a long while, and it says best if used by November of 2023. So they're fine. I'm just gonna get to using them, no big deal. So I've got 3 eggs scrambled up in here. I'm gonna add an entire can of cream corn that also needed to be used from the pantry. So that goes in. This is super easy to throw it together. Great way to use some things up. 1/2 stick of melted butter going in. And then we're gonna do some sour cream. I had an open container in the fridge, and you need a cup. This is just about a cup, so that's perfect. This was definitely needing to be used up. Gonna kind of combine this, and then we're just gonna throw the Jiffy mix in. And I'm gonna pour 1/2 of this into my pan, and then the other 1/2 I'm gonna mix in some cowboy candy. This stuff is pretty spicy this would have been from 2022. Last year's garden, I grew a whole bunch of jalapenos, so it's the flavor of a jalapeno without the heat. So I did mainly jalapenos in this year's cowboy candy with just a few jalapenos, hopefully making it a bit more mild because my kids don't like spice. My husband and I are okay. So that's why I'm only gonna put it in 1/2 of the cornbread because my kids won't touch it if it's spicy. Cornbread mix. Greased pie plate, that's just what I'm gonna put this in. You could put it in like an 8x8 as well. I'm gonna pour this whole thing in here, and then I'm just gonna add some of the cowboy candy to the one side. So this is more of like a spoonbread, corn spoonbread, or Reminds me of like the Chi-Chi's cornbread they used to serve. You used to be able to buy the little like packets at the store. I haven't seen them around in a long time. And then let me get another fork. Then to the one side, I'm just gonna add in some of this cowboy candy. And then this will go into the oven at 375 for about 40 minutes or so. I'm just gonna swirl these in here. Not too many, because like I said, they're pretty spicy. Into the oven it goes. All right, you guys, we are on to our last recipe for today. My husband just called me and said they stopped at my in-laws, so my mother-in-law fed them lunch. So that means I get to keep the ham and bean for dinner tonight, which is awesome. Less work for me. I'm carnivore right now, so I wasn't even gonna eat that. And Grant probably wouldn't have eaten that anyway, so we'll just fix him something else simple and quick. We're waiting on the ham and bean soup to get done yet before we season that up. The cornbread just came out of the oven. That looks delicious. And I had to take out the fruit leather. I wasn't really thinking, which is fine. After we got this done, this is some peanut butter and jelly muffins, and that will go back in for the rest of the day. Next home, I really want 2 ovens. That might seem excessive and a luxury, and it is, but I do so much baking. It'd be so nice to have 2 so I could do different things at the same time. Anyways, we're doing some peanut butter and jelly muffins. I had some overripe bananas that needed to be used. I had an open jar of natural almond butter that my kids don't really love on its own, so I figured mixed into muffins it would be good. And then I've got a whole bunch of jams and jellies we're working with over this challenge. So we're gonna swirl in some strawberry jam, and this is a great time to use up some of that whole wheat flour. In all of my baking recipes going forward, I'm just gonna do half and half the whole wheat and half just some white all-purpose flour. So this recipe I'll have down in the description for you guys if you want to make it, as well as all of the recipes. Okay, I'll be right there. From the challenge, I'll have them down in the description. What do you need? This recipe is really easy. It's really quite healthy. It's just bananas, peanut butter, maple syrup, eggs, vanilla, flour, milk, baking soda, salt, and then some jam. So I'm gonna get this all mixed up into my muffin tins. I'm gonna swirl in this. This is gonna get into the oven. And then once that's done, I will put the fruit leather back in. And hopefully by then our soup will be ready to season. And then all my work for the day will be done and I can get to some other things. Okay, I got regular size muffins and some mini muffins ready to go. I just swirled in the jam on top. So I'm gonna get these baking. I'm gonna check on the soup. Okay, my friend, we are moving right along. The muffins came out of the oven, the cornbread's done, the fruit leather is back in. I'm gonna let that go for a while. I'll check back in later with you to see how that turns out. Now I'm just finishing up the soup. I removed the ham bone, picked most of the meat off of that. There's some more, but it was still pretty hot, so I'm just waiting for that to cool down. I'm mashing it up just a little bit with my potato masher here. I like some of the beans to be mashed. It just makes it a bit thicker, creamier. We like our soups that way if it can be done. So I have added some seasoning to this. I did about 1.5 teaspoons of cumin, a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, about a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. And then just for a little bit of a kick, we did just a very scant sprinkling of red pepper flakes, but this is really just to your taste. You could add more of those flavors, less. If you don't like one of them, completely omit it. I'm gonna give this a taste here in a second, see if I need to adjust. I have not added any salt or pepper. Usually I don't have to. Ham, as you know, can be pretty salty, so we don't necessarily have to add any more. But after I get this all seasoned, it's gonna sit for like another 20 to 30 minutes, allow everything to mingle, and then dinner is ready to go, and I have the rest of the day to get some other stuff done. Peanut butter and jelly muffins. 5 gone, huge hit. Definitely recommend. Yum, doesn't that look good. My husband said it tasted really good. So I'm gonna go grab some of the cornbread. Here's that cornbread all finished up. So there is dinner, day 1 of the challenge. So this is the current state of my kitchen. This is just what it looks like after filming and making a whole bunch of stuff. So something I'm going to put into practice again, which I got out of the habit of doing, is putting the kitchen to bed each night, making sure all of it is cleaned up, work surfaces are cleared off, things are put away, so that I have a nice clean slate to work with each day. Makes things go a lot smoother. The kitchen looks more welcoming. I want to be in it, and it's just a good habit to be doing each night. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. So here is the fruit leather all done. It did take about 6 hours in the oven. There's still a couple tacky spots where it seems it was a bit thicker, but I'm not honestly too worried about that. I don't want it to get too dried out and then just start to crack. My kids are gonna eat this probably in the next few days here, no problem. So I'm just gonna keep it on the parchment. I'm gonna cut some strips here, and then I'm gonna roll it up like a fruit roll up. And I'll stick it in an airtight jar that the kids can pull from as they want. It smells really good. I haven't tasted it yet. There it is. Okay, friend, it is day 2 of the Pantry challenge. We just did leftovers for breakfast and for lunch, which is just how things work around here, so I won't share any more of those meals this week. We're just gonna focus on dinners. So tonight I have pulled out some chicken breast and some bacon, which are thawing. I brought some potatoes up from the basement and some freeze-dried leeks. We're gonna make a cozy, creamy bake topped with mashed potatoes. I'm gonna add some different cheeses in there. Excuse me. This cough just won't go away. So that's all I'm really working on today. Today is my day to get caught up around the house with cleaning. My mom's here right now. She's doing homeschooling with Eleanor. So it's a pretty slow day. So once everything is all thawed and ready to go, we'll get to work on dinner. So for this chicken bacon mash thing we're making here, I cubed up about 6 medium potatoes, and we're going to boil them for our mashed potatoes. I'm also going to fry up some bacon. I am using 8 strips of bacon in this recipe. I kind of forgot that I wanted to chop it up prior to frying it, so I just went in with my kitchen shears and made it work. Once the bacon was nice and crispy, I added in 2 cubed up chicken breast, probably totaling about a pound. And we just want to get these nice and golden brown on each side. They don't have to be cooked all the way through. We're going to continue cooking this in the oven. Now I'm going to add in about 1.5 cups of freeze-dried leeks. I'm going to give that a stir all around, and they're just going to absorb all of the juices there in the bottom of the pan. Next, I am going to sprinkle some flour on top, about 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to stir this up, making sure everything is nice and coated, and I'm going to cook that for about 30 seconds longer. From here, we're gonna add 1 cup of chicken broth. You could use veggie broth or whatever broth you have on hand. And we're gonna mix that all together so that the flour absorbs that broth. Next, I'm gonna add about 3 ounces of cream cheese and about a teaspoon of dried thyme, give or take. This is stone ground mustard. I added in 1 tablespoon. We're going to stir this all together.
Now we'll add in some salt and pepper, a good bit of pepper, just a little bit of salt. The bacon adds enough saltiness. Drained off the potatoes. Now we're just going to whip up some mashed potatoes. I added in a little bit of milk and a good bit of butter, some salt and pepper, and I also sprinkled in about a cup of cheese. Mix that all together, and we are going to top our other mixture with these mashed potatoes. So spreading it all around. I'm going to use a fork here, and I'm going to rough it up a little bit so that we get some nice golden bits on the top. And then last, I will add a sprinkling of cheese over the top. This goes into a 375-degree oven for about 25 minutes. This is just something that I threw together with things I had on hand. I like to do different takes on like a cottage pie or shepherd's pie with whatever ingredients I have. And this one was a little bit new for me. I hadn't done this combination before, and my husband raved over it. He said it's one of his favorite dishes that I have made in a while, and my kids asked for seconds. So then you know it's really good.
We are on to day 3 dinner. This is actually the last day I'm going to share with you guys for this video, and we'll pick it up again next week. But we're going to make a recipe that was shared down in the comments of my last video from Mary. Thank you, Mary, about a carrot and coconut milk soup. I'm going to switch it up just a little bit, and I'm going to use some of my rambuncante squash. I picked a small one here. We're also going to add in some of our leftover chicken broth from last night's dinner. And then I've got some pork sausage I pulled out. So this recipe honestly is going to be a bit of a stretch for my husband. He doesn't mind carrots. Not a huge, excuse me. Okay, coughing fit over. He doesn't mind carrots. He's not a huge fan of pumpkin, and he's not a huge fan of coconut either. But I'm thinking maybe I can win him over by putting some meat in this. So I have some maple pork sausage I pulled out of the freezer that I'm going to make into little meatballs. I'm gonna fry them up and add them into this soup. And then we're gonna add a bunch of seasoning as well. So I'm gonna get this guy cut up and we're gonna get him roasting. So I am standing here rolling up some meatballs. This is just straight pork sausage, not adding anything else to it. It already had maple seasoning that we had added when we butchered and processed. So getting those rolled up, I'm gonna fry them up. I'm just gonna make a pretty small batch of this soup. Like I said, it's a bit of a stretch for my husband. There are some ingredients that he's not super fond of. He will eat them. Honestly, he eats whatever I put in front of him. He's wonderful like that. He may ask that maybe I don't make it again, but he will eat it, and he'll eat it with a thankful heart and a smile on his face. And he's not afraid to try new things, which I'm very grateful for. But he is a man who loves his meat. He needs meat in every meal. So I am trying to cater to him a little bit here and add in these sausage meatballs into this soup. I think it's gonna go really well together. But you know, I just thought it was a really great use of some of the things that I had in hopes that maybe we discover something new. Like this challenge, I want to try some new things and see how we like them. So I was able to use up some of the canned carrots, my excess of rambuncante squash, and I had some coconut milk that was quickly approaching its expiration date. So we're gonna give it a go, and I will let you guys know how he likes it. Something I should mention, I am not able to follow Mary's recipe here quite exactly, and like I said, I am altering it a bit as well in terms of ingredients, but the way she does it, she roasts her carrots and onions and garlic all in the oven together. My carrots were already cooked and canned, so I can't do that. I'm not using onions and garlic fresh. I'm just gonna use onion and garlic powder. That's just what I have and what is going to work for me. So we're making it work with what we got. I am still hopeful it's gonna turn out really well, and I will make sure to list all of the ingredients that Mary uses and her instructions, which she posted in my last video, down in the description. So again, thank you, Mary. Meatballs are all done, so now I'm gonna get a few other things going here while we wait for the pumpkin to get done in there. We're gonna get our aromatics into my pot. So I minced up some ginger and some garlic. Well, my whole house smells lovely. This has been going for about a minute. I'm gonna add in the remainder of the chicken broth from yesterday. It's probably about 4 cups. I might have to add some water to this. We will play it by ear. Taste a little bit later. Some carrots going in. This is a quart jar. Now Mary's recipe called for 2 pounds of carrots roasted. I'm thinking this is probably around 1 pound of carrots in here right now, and I'll probably have 1 pound of pumpkin coming out of the oven. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now, but I can taste it later and see if I wanna add some more carrots into it. I can do that. Okay, the pumpkin has roasted. I have it separated from the skin. That guy in there. I might need to add some more carrots. We will see. I'm gonna get my immersion blender and we're gonna blend this all up and then add some coconut milk. I didn't realize I didn't have the camera going. I put in coconut milk, a can of coconut milk. I'm gonna add in some heavy whipping cream too. I only did half a can of coconut milk because my husband doesn't love the flavor of coconut, so I'll use that in something else. I'm gonna throw in some heavy cream, like a 1/2 cup worth. Now we're gonna do some seasoning. Salt, pepper, a little bit of ground ginger left in this container, so that's gonna go in. Onion powder, garlic powder. I just gave it a little bit of a taste, and I think it tastes really good. There's a lot of depth of flavor, and I don't get like overwhelmingly carrot or pumpkin or coconut milk. Like I said, I only added in half a can of coconut milk and then a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. So I did the 1 quart of carrots in there, about 4 cups of chicken broth, probably 2 cups worth of pureed pumpkin, and then I just kind of added, you know, to taste, I did some minced garlic, minced ginger, and then those seasonings just until I thought it tasted good. So I think that'll go great with those meatballs. I'm gonna get that plated up, and then I did find in the freezer, we made these a little while back. They're sweet potato biscuits that I'm gonna serve on the side. I think they'll go great in there. This is the type of soup I think that you need something to like sop it up with. So that will be dinner for day 3. Okay, so that's all the recipes I have for you in this video. We're gonna pick it back up again next Friday with a bunch more recipes, and we'll continue on with this schedule until the end of February. Tuesday, I've got something coming, fun. Not totally sure what direction I'm heading in yet. It's either gonna be garden related or herbalism related. Not totally sure yet, but you can look for that on Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me for a few days here in the kitchen. Got a little bit of inspiration on how to use some things up from the pantry. You guys all have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time.